Okay, I'm at the local gas station getting some gas. Notice I said gas and not motor fuel. I won't tell you the name of this place, but I want you to notice that not only do they sell motor fuel, but they sell gasoline, which is reasonably priced, actually, I thought. And so I don't know if you can read that. That's not too bad for real gas. This is Oklahoma, and we have petitioned the government that they should sell real gasoline, and they damn sure better well do what we petition them to do. That's why I like living in Oklahoma. There's a lot of corruption in a lot of other states. There's probably a lot of corruption in Oklahoma, but we won, and we have real gasoline. And I'll tell you why in a minute, why you want this instead of that. Okay, I showed you a gas station and the non-ethanol gas that you can buy there, and we petitioned our legislation through letters to keep the regular gasoline, the non-ethanol gasoline. It seems to be working so far. However, it's still being offered, which means it's still being subsidized by your and my taxes to the tune of about 50 cents a gallon. It costs about that much to, or probably more actually, to produce the alcohol or the ethanol that they're putting in your gas. Well, how can it be cheaper, you say? Well, what they do is they push this on you as kind of a center shelf in a grocery store kind of a situation. Most gas stations have the motor fuel, On-Q, 7-Eleven, and there are some others in Oklahoma that do sell pure gasoline. It's about 30 cents more a gallon. So, you know, of course, you roll up to the pump. Why would you pay 30 cents more a gallon for gasoline? Your car runs just the same on it. But here's the thing is they're making you swallow this to grow corn, to subsidize it for whatever reason I don't understand. I don't get it, because it costs the taxpayers more. I'm sure somewhere, somehow down the line, there's money being changed somewhere, because money is where it's all about, or what it's all about. So essentially you're paying them to manufacture alcohol to put in your gas, and it does terrible things to your engines. A lot of you say, well, you know, the thing about gasoline is, or ethanol gasoline, well, my car runs on ethanol gasoline, and it runs fine on it. I've got a new car, and it says it can run on it, and everything's okay, and blah 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 blah. Well, that's fine. That's all well and fine. But the whole thing is, it doesn't stop the principle from the fact, and you can't get away from this fact, alcohol mixes with water, and gasoline does not. And if you do not believe that alcohol does not mix with water, then you need to mix yourself a rum and coke, because that's alcohol right there. And that alcohol is much like the same as the stuff being put in gasoline, because it's made out of corn. It's moonshine, essentially. It's the same thing, pretty much. So, what is this doing to your car? Well, aside from the condensation that it can collect in the gas tank and run up through your fuel system, in older cars it deteriorates, and probably in new cars it says it doesn't, but I don't believe them. It says it doesn't deteriorate O-rings and fuel lines and that kind of stuff like that. And for us who can fix cars, we have to get rid of them because the old cars won't run on the motor fuel. And since they won't run on the motor fuel, we have to buy new cars. And then our old cars go to the junker. So it gives us mechanics nothing. It gives us nothing. It keeps us from working on our old cars and learning all that stuff that we learn. It just goes down the tubes because we can't fix our old outboards and our old snowmobiles and our old weed eaters and our old lawnmowers and our old rotor tillers, and it goes on and on and on like that. You have to buy a new one. Now, it's my opinion that you should petition your government, and petition your government with a letter. And I do not mean a letter like an email. Don't email them, because if you email them, they can just push a button and delete it. If you write them an actual physical letter, a piece of mail with a stamp on it, they have to open it. And when they open it, the letter doesn't go away. They have to throw it away. And so they throw it in the trash, but it's still in the trash. So they have to grind it up. There's physical stuff they have to do with that letter in order to get rid of it. It's more likely to be read if you send them an actual letter. And you need to tell them that it's not good for your car. It's not good for the environment either. Did you know that Monsanto developed corn that's impervious to Roundup? And why? Because you want a corn that's impervious to Roundup, so you can spray Roundup on your fields and your corn will grow bigger. And you can get all the weeds out of it. You can have more corn, a bigger crop, make more ethanol, sell to the government, more money. Monsanto is a good company. I don't have anything wrong with them. I don't have any problem with that. I don't have any problem with making money either. Well, they sell this corn to these manufacturers who produce alcohol and sell it to the government. All right, well, when you spray a field with Monsanto, it kills all the natural grasses except for the Monsanto corn when you spray Roundup on it. And not only does it kill all the natural grasses, it kills a lot of milkweed. And the monarch butterfly flies from up in Montana or wherever to Metamora, Mexico, or wherever they go. And they have to have something to eat on the way. So all you environmentalists out there, I want you to think about this, that ethanol that you're putting in your car is being subsidized by a government who cares not one whit for the monarch butterfly, because millions are killed on the way down because they don't have any food. They don't have any natural food because of the cornfields in Nebraska and whatnot like that. They don't have any milkweed in them. They don't have any milkweed in them because they've been sprayed with the field. Okay, we go past that anyways. Not good for your car. Rubber parts, not good for any weed eater, lawnmower, old engine. It deteriorates, eats parts. It mixes with water. Therefore, you get rust in your tank and that kind of stuff. What to do about it? Write your congressman, write your senator, write whatever. I like to make sure that I have a good working rifle as well too. And I like to post this on public forums because my rifle is not for hunting. It's not for target shooting. It's not for cleaning. Not for home defense. Could be. It's for an intrusive government that doesn't want to listen to its people and does stupid things, like makes moonshine and then puts it in our motor fuel. Now, do I condone using it on them? No. You end up in Sing Sing forever. This is in the event that things get way out of hand. But I like to keep her nice and clean and well oiled, and I like to let them know that I have one. So if things get out of hand, completely, outrageously out of hand, and they quit recognizing truths, and I want to tell you about truths. These truths shall be self-evident. What do you think about those words? These truths. What's a truth? 2 and 2 is 4. That's a truth. Eat too many cookies, you get fat if you don't have enough exercise. Don't grease up and oil your rifle, it won't run right. Those are truths. Self-evident. My rifle is for those in government that do not recognize self-evident. They either do not recognize them because they're stupid, and they're not, but they refuse to recognize them because if they continue to refuse to recognize them, their secret offshore accounts grow larger. So, get yourself a good rifle. This is an old Chinese SKS. It's a copy of a Russian rifle. The Russian stuff is great. The Russian stuff is really good. I like it. The reason why I like the Russian stuff is it runs good, and I'll tell you why it runs good. Because if it didn't run good, the people that invented it went to the gulag. So it has to run good. Another thing I like about it is the 7.62 by 39 round. 7.62 by 39 round is effective up to about 500 yards. This rifle is pretty dead on accurate at about 300 yards, and I can get damn close at 500 yards. And I can't see very well. And it's an old piece of junk Chinese rifle, but it shoots straight. This is a cheap rifle. It runs good. It never jams. And it runs on the ammunition that if we get invaded, those invaders, when I dispatch of them, I can use their ammunition. Think about that. So, good, cheap rifle. A sling is a must. Keep yourself good and steady. But right there, will defend your amendments, your rights, your constitutional rights. And when they start doing bozo stuff, like put moonshine in your gasoline, you need to write them a letter. So, on to our project. And that's all I'm going to say about gasoline. Okay, I think what we're going to do is we're going to work on this tractor because if I can get it out of the way and back in the barn, I have more room for the snowmobile. I got the snowmobile up on some ramps, or not ramps, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So you scoot it along the ground. Hate getting old, you don't know what you're saying anymore. So, we're going to take this wheel off because it's been leaking. And how you take these wheels off, some of them have lug nuts and some of them have little clips to hold them on. The cheapy tractors have little clips that hold it on. And usually the tractor has been neglected in such a way that the little E-clip is welded to the axle. I've made sure, because I've had this wheel off 4,695 times to fix the leak on it. This will be 4,696 times. I've had it on and off so many times that it comes off relatively easy. Yours is not going to come off that way. Originally, I had to pound the bejesus out of it in order to get it off, and then I had to grind that all down, all the rust, sand it all down, ream this all out, grease everything, la-da-da-da-da, it goes on and on like that. It would be really cool if this was, let me see here, if this was the stem or the valve leaking. That would be awesome. But I know it's not. Might be, but I know it's not. Okay, I got some soapy water. Got any water coming out of there? Any bubbles? Got some bubbles coming around the bead, any? Got lots of water, or got lots of air in it. Lots of air. Lots of air. No bubbles. No bubbles out the valve. No bubbles around the bead. On the front side. Oh, be careful with these. You lose them. There you go. Let's try the back side. Maybe it's got a nail in it. Not. Couldn't be that simple. No, I didn't think so. Try the back side. Nothing. So why does this thing keep going down on me then? Yeah, I did a good job of grinding all that crap out of there. We do have a little air right here, I think. Is it a little bubble? Let's see here. I'm not getting anything. It's just frustrating as hell. Actually, yes. Yes, actually I am. I can see it. It's very small. It's very small. It's right here, and it is a bead leak, and it's very small. Very small right here. Very small. Very small. It's put a little mark on the tire so I know where it's at. Let's look at the front again. See if we can't. See if it's got something going on there. Man, I just don't see anything. You know, you think you'd have some air bubbles or something, but it leaks out very slow. I think we have the same situation going on here. I can see small little pocket here, and it's bubbling up so tiny. Yeah, there it is. So tiny. Yeah, there it is. I have a bead leak. It's ever so slight, but I ground the stuff out of it last time. I have to do it again, I guess. Okay. Okay, well, I've pulled the tire down. It was pretty easy to come off. I just used a screwdriver and it came off. Yours won't though, because this tire's been on and off 400,000 times, or however many I said before. Essentially, all the big chunks and rust and stuff is off of this. And I'm just simply, and it's actually clean bare metal, I can see. And I've done this before several times. I'm using a piece of sandpaper right now, or just a sanding disc, heavy disc, about an 80. But before I got in there with a die grinder and ground all the junk off in it, it doesn't have any cups in it or anything. I was looking for some kind of sealer to go around that. And I used automotive urethane, windshield urethane, and it didn't work because it doesn't stay supple. doesn't stay. I don't know. It doesn't attach itself to the tire, is what it won't. But I know something that will attach itself to the tire, and that's the little rubber cement that comes in the repair kit patches. I bet you that will work. So I'm going to rough this back up again, knock any crap off of it. We'll clean it up with a little brake clean, and then stick some of that on there and see if I can't fix it with some of that rubber cement. Maybe that'll work. I got to thinking about this tractor too, and I haven't changed the oil since I've owned it. I pulled it out of the trash. It was probably 5 or 6 years ago since I've changed the oil in it, so I probably ought to change the oil in it. Although I just use it for a Sea-Doo conveyance. I don't use it that much. I just use it to convey my Sea-Doo back and forth from the garage to fix it to the back garage out there. It never gets put on the lake because there's always something wrong. See my other video. No, I'm joking. I use it too because I have a lot of stuff. It's in a little bit of space. It's hard to get everything, you know, situated around. So it's nice to have something like this to kind of tow things around, move things around. I don't have to use the big tractor, and it's kind of nice. The big tractor's kind of cantankerous sometimes too, because of its age. So, and I think I've got that figured out though, so I could probably use that more often. Probably ought to. That would be pretty cool to move things around on the with the John Deere A. Well, do I have any brake clean? No. Oh yes, I do right there. Oh, that's convenient. Caps broke off of it. Well, we can kind of get some on our rag and kind of clean it up best we can. Hopefully we can make this work, or at least give it another attempt. There she is. Ooh, squirt me in the face. That's great. I like brake cleaning the face. Nice. Gives me that fresh, clean smell that my wife likes. Let's see if we can kind of tire up a little bit. The surface there a little bit. Not so terribly bad. Sometimes it's hard to seat these, but this has been off and on so many times that it pretty much seats itself. It's kind of like when you was in shop in school and they have the old tire that you put on and off the rim 400,000 times to learn how a tire machine works, you know. And the tire is like silly putty on, you know, so you can put it on by hand. You almost don't need the tire machine. You remember that, don't you? I'm sure you do. You remember shop class? I do. Automotive class. Yeah, let's see. Get cleaned up good. So, if you have a leaking tire, you can do this. You can take these tires off by yourself. They're not easy, though, to get off yourself. You have to have some good tire tools. Get them off and on. Sometimes you can't seat these, and what you can do is you can take a cargo strap and ratchet like this, and it'll squeeze the insides, push out on the outsides, and it'll seat the rim. All right, let's give her a generous go of this. Yeah. And no charge for that, sir. No additional charge for that. Let's give that a good going around down there. Give it a reach around. There it is. Now, this side. Hope I got enough left. Yeah, we'll probably hit the corners and then probably smear that around. And it might be just enough. Let's see here. Yeah. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, get that up in there. That's not too bad. Better than a kick in the pants. Now let's put the air to her and see what she does. Probably ain't gonna like it. There. Had it here somewhere. There's that. Where's my air chuck? Lost and gone forever. Dreadful sorry Clementine. There she is. Put some air to her so it happens. Oh, it doesn't like that. Doesn't like it at all. There she is. Ooh, look at that dog snowmobile. Okay. Now let's put our Velcro in there. See what we got then. Glue around her. You know, this doesn't mean it's going to last forever. Or last very long at all, anyways. It might just last long enough for us to check it and put it on the tractor, and it might start leaking again. Who knows? I know you can buy these things, but the whole thing about my channel is not buying anything. Try to get out of it. Try to get out of it without paying so much. Okay. Looks about right. Okay. Now, put the stuff to her and see what happens. See if we get any action. Let's see. See if I can see any action. Before there was a little bit of action. Not a lot. It's very hard to see. I don't see it. Don't see it at all like it was. What do you got here? Let's have a look. Come on. Yeah, I got this out of the junk, and of course the tires are bad on it. You had to replace the tires. And the carburetor was full of gas, and float was stuck on it, and everything was jammed all up. So I had to buy a carburetor. That was kind of expensive. I think I paid $100 for a carburetor for the stupid thing. And then the starter stopped working, and it was probably another $100 for carburetor, and tires, probably another $100, and a battery, and essentials like little things like that. You had to put starter solenoid on it, fuel filter, fuel lines, spark plugs. Man, yeah, there's a lot to be said about a running good lawnmower, a running good little garden tractor like this or something for $300 or $400, I think. One with tires and runs and that kind of thing. There's a lot to be said about that, because you buy one of these things and it's likely you're going to end up spending money on it, and probably more money than the damn thing's worth. On the other hand, if you're like me and money is awful hard to come by, you can get this free, fill your tires with slime, sort of make the carburetor work, you know, do stuff like that. Use an old car battery or something and make it run, you know, like I was doing. And a little bit at a time, you fix the stuff that really needed it, like a starter, you know, so you could actually start the thing. So you know what? I think it's highly probable that I have this thing fixed. Wouldn't that be great? We'll see what happens. If you put a little grease on this, before you go and put it back together, and remember this has got a key, so it's got a slot in here, stem side out. Is that what I'm seeing there? It is what I'm seeing, isn't it? I've got a stem leak too. Huh, that's something. Well, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I guess I'll put some slime in it or something. See if that'll fix it. Anyways, yeah, you think you got it fixed, then you don't. Anyways, this has got a key. And you got to line the keyway up in order to get her on. And if you don't line the keyway up, you won't get her on. It's pretty simple like that. And you think she's going to fit on there. Gives you hell every time you go to put it on. There you go. Back that up a little more. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Washer. Your big E-ring. And now we have to figure a way. We're going to fix that leak. Now the valve stem, I already had the valve stem out if you're asking. Sometimes you get a little hammer on there and it'll pop it on there. If you're asking, I already put a valve stem in this. Pulled it out, sanded it all down, did all kinds of groovy things to it. If it's an ambulance, you got a chance. If it's a hearse, it's got to be worse. Check out what I did. Okay, you see that? I know it's hard to see, no light. Let me spray a little on it, a little soap and water. Do you see any bubbles? No, it's fixed it. How did you fix that, Dan? Well, I let all the air out of it, and that releases the pressure on that valve. Now, I know I replaced that, and I cleaned that area all up. And I took these pair of pliers right here, this old pair of pliers, and I grabbed hold of it, and I gently turned it back and forth while I was spraying this on it. Copper spray gasket by Permatex, because I know that was some sticky stuff when I used it. So what I did is I kind of moved it in and out, and I sprayed it around it, and I moved it in and out, sprayed it around it, let it set, sprayed a little more, moved it in and out, that kind of thing. And then aired up the tire, and no more leak. Let's hit that again with a little water, see what happens. And yeah, amazed me also. I guess when you air up this little that little nipple right there, it kind of opens things up a little bit, I guess, and it seals it. It's supposed to. Well, there's a little gap in there, and I guess that copper spray gasket stopped that gap. And probably work around that tire too, if I ever had any leaks around there anymore. Probably, wouldn't that be cool? I didn't have to air this tire up every damn time I went to use this. That would be really cool. I think I'm going to call that fixed. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is fix this. Because this is a little whore when you want to go shift it when it's running. And when you got it in first gear and you push down on the clutch, it still creeps forward. So I'm thinking the clutch is out of adjustment. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do an oil change on it. And I'm going to call it good. And if it doesn't like it, there isn't a thing it can do about it. And I'm trying to be as kind to you as I can with this video. Hard to see underneath here. Anyways, there's a linkage right here that goes to the clutch pedal. And I pulled that cotter key out of there, and I turned that 3 or 4 turns. And it ought to give me more brake. It also ought to give me more clutch, so the thing ought to stop moving forward in first gear. And you probably can't see this, but right there is an arm. Yeah, my light's right on it. The arm coming out of the transmission. The nut on the top was loose, so I tightened that. And then there's another nut that allows that to flex a little bit, swing a little bit. And that was loose, and it only had 1 nut on it. I put 2 nuts on it and tightened it up. And that's going to give our transmission a bit more shiftability. Is that a word? Instead of being so loose and sloppy, now it's relatively tight, and with the clutch, it wasn't doing that before. With the clutch adjusted a little more, it just might work now. Transmission. I had the transmission out of this, and I pulled what looked like to be a plug out of it, and I filled it with 90 weight. And I don't think you were supposed to do that because it all come oozing out the side as I was driving it. Not all of it. I guess some of it stayed in, but anyways. Okay, let's do an oil change. Even on the junkiest of junk that I have, I'm a big fluids and filter guy. So I change oil pretty regularly. You can see this. Yeah, it's really not too bad, not for about 5 years. But it doesn't get much use. So we'll see what's in her. Well, it's a little black. It's got something in it, that's good. While I'm in there, I'll grease the steering shaft. There you go. Oh, look at that. That's nice. My steering shaft is a piece of PVC. It's a T from a PVC and a couple of straps. Kind of a slot fit in there. It seems to work pretty good. Oh, that's nice. Now the steering linkage itself. Oh, drizzle a little bit on there. Oh yeah, honey. Yeah, that's it. Well, only the best for you, baby. Yeah, a little more. Oh, don't get greedy. Might as well do my throttle cable and choke cable too. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. That's right. There you go. Yeah. Oh yeah, there you go. It's a little stiff. Oh, look at that. It's like new now. 100%. Okay. That's nice. Got it up on a jack. We can kind of tilt it a little bit. A bit more come out of it. I figure any of it that I take out and put new in, hey, there you go. Still come out pretty good. Yeah, an old flathead twin, it's a pretty fair motor. Not too bad. Probably was put through literal hell all its life. When I got it, it was pretty screwed up. The oil in it was black. I mean black. Alright, that's enough. That's all you're getting. Don't be pig. There you go. Yeah, there she is right there. Tighten that up. That's nice. Alright, let me see if I can get a towel or something to knock that mess up. Wipe this down. And since I let her wait that long, I always buy synthetic oil. And I'll tell you about synthetic oil here. Synthetic oil is mineral oil. It isn't made out of magic pixie farts or some kind of mysterious circumstances that it somehow miracled itself on this earth, where the scientists clapped their hands and they made it. This is mineral oil, is what it is. And the reason why they call it synthetic is because of all the additives in it. Has a lot of additives in it. Realistically, they're probably all mineral oil too. Has to do with ability to take heat without losing its viscosity and flow when it's cold. I still ain't on stick yet, am I? Oh, nope, not yet. Just barely. This might take a little bit more than this. Just might take a little more. Might take. Okay, our oil's full. Tell by the full mark on it. To start, neutral.